This chapter is describing the creation of Kumaras and others. This is the beginning of the day of Brahma, when Brahma has to create the population as it was before the previous dissolution. So Brahma creates personalities called Prajapati, the progenitors of the different species. Brahma is especially empowered by the Supreme Lord for such creation. Brahma created the Kumaras. In the beginning, the Kumaras were born, but the Kumaras, they refused to produce offspring to increase the population, to help Brahma with the work of further creation. Why did the Kumaras refuse? Because they were spiritually enlightened. So they did not want to get entangled in family life. So Brahma could understand the reason for the Kumaras refusing, but he could not control his anger, and from between his eyebrows, Rudra was born as a result of Brahma becoming angry at the refusal of the Kumaras. Rudra was then ordered by Brahma to create progeny. Rudra was given 11 places and he was given 11 wives. So then he produced offspring who were of the same nature as he himself. That means they were all born with fiery temperament, and as soon as they were born, they began to devour the entire world, and they even came to attack Brahma. So then Brahma called Rudra and said there is no need to generate such a population at the beginning of the creation. Such work of destruction will be required only at the end of the duration of this universe. So therefore he advised Rudra to stop generating such a population, and he also advised Rudra to go to the forest to perform tapasya and wait for the time of destruction when his services will be required. So accordingly, Rudra, he agreed and he went to the forest to perform tapasya. That's why you see pictures of Shiva sitting in meditation. Have you seen? He is performing tapasya till the time when destruction or dissolution has to be done. Then Brahma thought of creating some good progeny who will be helpful for him in producing the population, increasing the population. So he begot 10 sons, particularly for extension of the generations. Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vasishta, Daksha, and finally the 10th son Narada. Among these 10 sons, Narada is considered the best because Narada is specially empowered to give devotional service, to teach devotional service. The reason is that without devotional service, one cannot expect any progress in any other department of activity. Any activity can be successful if it is mixed with devotional service. Without devotional service, no activity can be successful. Narada was born from the deliberation of Brahma. Now Brahma, to create, he has to create his Prajapatis from the different parts of his body, because he is the only one who is there in the beginning of the creation. He himself was born out of the lotus which came out of the navel of Vishnu. Then Brahma has to generate by his potency of creating progeny. He has to bring forth the Prajapatis. So these 10 sons are specially meant to help produce the population all over the universe, populate the whole universe. Now Narada was born from the deliberation of Brahma, the best part of his body. Vasishtha was born from his breathing, Daksha from a thumb, Bhrigu from his touch, Kratu from his hand. How is this possible? Because Brahma has got the power to generate such progeny, being empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the important point, that anybody can generate offspring only by the empowerment of the Supreme Lord. Because generating offspring is not a material activity actually. It is not a material activity. Why? Because generating offspring means a soul has to take shelter of certain parents and then be given a particular type of body. Now, this generally happens by 4 methods. What are the 4 methods by which offspring is generated? Among the plants and trees, it is generally by seed. Among the humans and higher species than humans, it is by embryo. And then among the birds, reptiles, etc., it is by eggs. Even the some of the worms also, it is by eggs. And microbes and germs and all by fermentation of some organic solution. It's called by perspiration. Shvedaja, Andaja, Udbija, and one more. Like this, 4 methods are there. But some empowered personalities can produce offspring by a different method than these 4. It's like Brahma. Brahma is simply producing out of his different parts of the body by just desiring to do so. Simply he has to desire, will, that's it. The offspring is born. So this is not possible for everyone. Sometimes when the Supreme Lord has to appear as a son of his devotees, then simply by their meditation, just like Vasudeva and Devaki, how did they beget Krishna as their son? It is described in the Bhagavatam, 10th canto. They were performing severe austerities, tapasya, and the Supreme Lord granted them their desire. They wanted to have a son like the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord said, there cannot be any son like me, so I have to appear as your son. So he granted them their desire that, yes, I will appear as your son. So then what did they have to do? Vasudeva had to meditate on the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord entered the heart of Vasudeva. Then the Lord transferred from the heart of Vasudeva to the heart of Devaki. And from the heart of Devaki entered the womb of Devaki. So this is the way the parents of Krishna, Vasudeva and Devaki, actually got Krishna as their son. So these are all extraordinary ways. It is not that everybody can do this. No. Especially those who are empowered can do it. Then it is also described here that Narada, the name Narada itself is very significant. Nara means the Supreme Lord. Da means one who can give. So Narada can deliver the Supreme Lord to anyone he likes to give. Now that does not mean that Supreme Lord is some commodity, take. No. When it is said he can deliver the Supreme Lord, it means he can actually teach the bhakti yoga process by which one can realize the Supreme Lord. Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyas chasmi tattvataha. Tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. What is the purpose ultimately of this creation? The same purpose for which one should engage in devotional service. That is, to go back to Godhead, to go to the kingdom of God. That is where we all belong. We belong to the kingdom of God. But we are here in this material world because of our forgetfulness of Krishna. Krishna bhuliya jeev bhoga vancha kare. We forget Krishna and we desire to enjoy materially. That is the reason this world is created. Unlike this world, the spiritual world is not created. Spiritual world is not created or destroyed. It is eternally existing. Parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha. Bhagavad Gita describes there is another world. After describing this world, he is going through a cycle of creation, maintenance and destruction. Krishna, in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he describes there is another world. Parastasmatu bhava anyaha. Anya bhava means another nature. What is that nature? Spiritual nature. This is material nature. This world is made up of material nature. And there is a spiritual nature. spiritual world made of spiritual nature. What is spiritual nature's characteristic? It is sanatana, it is eternal. Eternal means there is no need for, there is no creation or destruction taking place. There is no need for any maintenance. You see, we have experienced anything we create or produce in this world. It requires maintenance. Anybody who has got a vehicle, any machine, it requires maintenance. Otherwise, it will deteriorate. In spite of maintenance also, finally it will not stay, because there is a certain duration for which a maximum amount of time it can be maintained. That also is limited. But the very characteristic of anything that is produced materially, it is got a beginning and an end. Got a beginning and an end. Everything material has got beginning, including our body. Our body, present body, is a material body. Therefore, it has got a beginning and an end, birth and death. And that also, maximum duration is fixed. Maximum duration is fixed. For every species, there is a maximum duration. Even Brahma, who lives the longest, even his duration of life is fixed by Kala, time. Brahma's lifespan, even though according to our calculation is some trillions of years, still it is just a limited duration which is equal to one breath of Mahavishnu. Yasyaika nishvasita kalam atha avalambya jivanti. How long does Brahma live? If you compare with Vishnu's time scale, Vishnu has got a time scale different from Brahma's time scale. Everybody has got a different time scale on different planets. So Vishnu belongs to the spiritual world. For the sake of creation, when he comes to the material world, Vishnu comes to the material world, then he lies down in one ocean called Karana Jala, causal ocean. And he breathes while he is enjoying mystic slumber, yoga nidra. His sleeping is not like our sleeping. Our sleeping is characterized by ignorance. We are in ignorance even otherwise, but in time of sleeping, we go from what is called as a wakeful state to a sleeping condition. So in that sleeping condition, we go more into ignorance. We are already in ignorance, but we go more into ignorance. Whereas Vishnu's sleeping is not going into any kind of ignorance. He is fully, always knowledgeable, fully conscious, 100% conscious always. So his sleeping is called Yoga Nidra, mystic slumber. In that mystic slumber, Vishnu, while he is breathing out, universes come out of his skin holes. So many universes come out in seed-like form. And those universes develop when Vishnu enters them. One of the meanings of the word Vishnu means one who enters. First he enters this material cosmic manifestation when he comes to that. From the spiritual world, Vishnu comes when the creation is required to be done. He comes in the form of Mahavishnu into that causal ocean. He enters the causal ocean. Then, when this universes come out of his skin holes, then each seed-like universe he enters as another Vishnu form called Garbhodaka Shayi Vishnu, also called the universal form. Vishnu in this universal form, he is the form of the universe. He assumes the form of the universe. There is one prayer called Purusha Sukta. It's a very important prayer that is chanted by all the devatas to pray to Vishnu, especially when there is some difficulty or danger or some miscreant asuras or demons are creating trouble with the devatas cannot actually do their administration. Then they go to Vishnu and pray to him. They offer particularly this Purusha Sukta prayer. Purusha Sukta glorifies the Supreme Lord as having the universal form, the form of the universe. So that particular Vishnu is the one who has entered the universe, because of which the universe begins to develop. And then after the universe develops, that Vishnu, while the universe develops, he maintains it. And then in the end, Shiva destroys it. So that Vishnu also does the initial creation. From him only Brahma is born, and further creation Brahma does. But creating Brahma and creating the ingredients is done by Vishnu. So that Mahavishnu's one breath, he breathes out, universes come out, he breathes in, all the universes go in. That's all. Duration of one breath of Mahavishnu is duration of life of Brahma. So everybody's duration of life is limited by Kala, time. So that time factor is one of the energies of the Supreme Lord that's working in this material world. That time factor is not there in the spiritual world. Spiritual world, there is no time factor. Kala is not there. There is transcendental time, that is different. But this Kala which is working here, that reduces the duration of life of everybody. Just like the clock is ticking every second or every minute. So our duration of life is reducing. The Bhagavatam says, with every sunrise and sunset, everyone's duration of life is reducing. So that destructive nature of this material world is not there in the spiritual world. Parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha. There, that is where we belong. We don't belong to this world, which is a world of death, mrityu loka. This world is also called mrityu loka because death is certain for everyone, including the big yogis, big devatas, big tapasvis, big jnanis. You see, they can extend their lifespan by practice of tapasya, by cultivating knowledge and coming to the state of realizing their spiritual nature. They can extend their lifespan. But maximum they can extend their lifespan is the duration of life of Brahma. Beyond that, nobody can stay, even if they are accomplished spiritualists or accomplished jnanis, yogis, tapasvis. They cannot stay. So actually, Krishna says, you come to my abode in the back to Godhead. Going back to Krishna's. Why going back? Because that's where we belong. And to go back, we have to engage in devotional service. Bhaktya. Only by bhakti we can know the Supreme Lord and go to Him. So, for knowing the Supreme Lord, bhakti is the only way. not only for knowing the Supreme Lord, even for success in any activity, there has to be some devotion. So that devotion is, or devotional service, bhakti, is taught by Narada. Narada is teaching how to practice this bhakti. And therefore, Narada is the topmost, the best son of Brahma. He can deliver to anyone this devotional service. He can teach. And it is Narada who has got many disciples who are famous throughout the universe as great devotees. For example, Prahlad. Prahlad is a disciple of Narada. Dhruva Maharaj, he is a disciple of Narada. He is so famous. There is a place for him, special place, Dhruva Nakshatra, the star, pole star. So he has become so famous. He is the disciple of Narada. Vyasa, the one who compiled all the 18 Mahapuranas, 18 Upapuranas. He compiled the Mahabharata. He put down the Vedas in writing. He compiled the Vedanta Sutra. So many things. So many things Vyasa has given us. He is a disciple of Narada. So Narada has got so many famous disciples because he is preaching devotional service. Valmiki, the author of Ramayana, he is a disciple of Narada. So Narada has got so many disciples. So Narada is the best son of Brahma, and he can deliver the bhakti yoga to anyone. Now, Narada is always traveling and preaching this system of bhakti yoga. The only difficulty is, in this world, this material world, people are very much inclined either to karma or jnana or yoga. Karma means fruitive activity. Fruitive activity, what is fruitive activity? People want to do some work and get the result for themselves they want to enjoy. Whereas the law of nature is that whatever work you do, you have to offer the results to the Supreme, to whom the results belong. And you should actually, in that way, prepare yourself to get out of this material entanglement. People don't realize if they work and try to take away the fruits for their own enjoyment, they are acting as thieves. In the Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter, it is described, Stena eva saha, yo bhungte stena eva saha. It is just like somebody is working in a factory. Very easy to understand. Now, whatever work they do in the factory, can they take what they have produced out of their own labor in the factory? No. Because whatever they do belongs to the owner of the factory, ultimately. Similarly, this world doesn't belong to us. Nothing in this world belongs to us. What did we come with when we were born? We came empty-handed. We don't have anything. And even after we are taking birth, everything is provided by the Lord. The intelligence, the skill, the ingredients, everything is provided by the Lord, Supreme Lord. So whatever we produce, to whom does it belong? To the Supreme Lord. So that is what is taught in Karma Yoga. Do work, but do it as a sacrifice. Yajñarthat karmanaha anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So karma or work becomes karma yoga when you sacrifice the results to the Supreme. So people are inclined to work, but work should be done as sacrifice to Vishnu. That is the aspect of bhakti within karma. When karma is mixed with bhakti, it becomes karma yoga. Jnana, people are inclined to cultivate knowledge. But cultivating knowledge simply for this any other purpose other than self-realization is again defeat of jnana. Just like there are people called jnanis who are expert philosophers, expert scholars in different departments of knowledge. But all their knowledge simply entangles them or keeps them bound up in this material world. If they want liberation from material bondage, then they have to mix jnana with bhakti, and that is called jnana yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita it is explained, Bahunam janmana mante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti. Their knowledge ultimately should lead them to understand that Krishna or Vasudeva is the essence of this entire material existence. The whole material existence is coming from the Supreme Lord. He is the source of everything in this material world. He is the one as Paramatma, he has entered into everything. Every living being's heart, every planet, every atom, every universe, the entire material existence itself, he has entered as Paramatma. And he is maintaining, he is giving the inspiration. Even in our heart he is sitting, what is he doing? He is giving us intelligence, he is digesting our food. In the Bhagavad Gita all this is explained. Aham Vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham ashritaha. He is situated in our body as pranavayu. That pranavayu circulation is the reason why different organs are working. This pranavayu is like electric current. Your heart is pumping blood. How is the heart actually working? How is it able to pump this blood? Continuously it is working, no? And if a person lives about 80 years, 450 crore times this pump is working in the lifetime of a person. Is there any pump in the world? 450 crore times it will keep on pumping, 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 pumping. Is there any such pump available? No. So this is the creation of the Supreme Lord. And also he is providing that prana, energy. That prana, energy. So it is Vasudeva Sarvamiti. It is Krishna or Vasudeva who is present in this world, who is the essence of this entire creation. So the whole study that they do, whatever knowledge they cultivate, they have to come to this conclusion. And after coming to this conclusion, the result is Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. They surrender to Krishna, they surrender to Vasudeva. That is the jnana resulting in ultimately liberation. When they surrender to the Supreme Lord. And in yoga, mystic yoga or Ashtanga yoga, they are learning to meditate on the Paramatma in the heart. But if they are carried away by some mystic power, yoga siddhi, some mystic power, then they may think that, oh, now we are able to do whatever we like to do. We got lot of power. So such mystic yogis, when they get some siddhi, they get misled into believing that now I don't care for death. Now I don't care for any laws of nature. I can go against the laws of nature. But they don't realize that these siddhis ultimately are awarded by the Supreme Lord only. Krishna is called Yogeshwara. He is the master of all such yogis who have mystic power. Krishna has got unlimited siddhis. Krishna has unlimited siddhis. And it's Krishna only who awards his siddhis. But his yogis sometimes forget how are they getting this siddhi. And they sometimes become very proud, or they think they can act independently. And then they get into endless trouble. And so Bhagavatam describes one yogi, Durvasa Muni. He became angry against one devotee, Ambarish Maharaj. And in order to show his mystic power, he created one Rakshasa out of one strand of his shikha, his hair, tuft of hair at the back of his head, using his power. And said, now go and attack this king, Ambarish Maharaj, devotee. So Ambarish Maharaj, humble devotee, he did not protest. But immediately Vishnu sent his Sudarshan Chakra to protect his devotee. Devotee doesn't have to do anything. He's got protection of the Supreme Lord. So that first of all, the Sudarshan Chakra came and killed this Rakshasa. And then started attacking, came to attack, chasing Durvasa Muni himself. So like that, these yogis sometimes forget by whose mercy, by whose grace, by whose benediction they are enjoying the mystic powers. And what is the purpose of that mystic power? That mystic power is not meant for anything material. It is not meant for anything material. It is meant for a higher purpose. What is that? Self-realization. Meant for self-realization. For realizing God. So, when the yogi realizes God, comes to understand the Supreme Personality of God, the Paramatma in the heart, on whom the yogi meditated and got all those mystic powers, you should realize that Paramatma is situated in the spiritual world as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is present everywhere in this world, and He is the Supreme Lord. He is the Master. So when he realizes that Supreme Lord as his Master, as his well-wisher, as his maintainer, as his controller, everything, then he surrenders. So, bhakti is directly talking of surrender to that Supreme Lord, who is the ultimate source of everything. Bhakti is the only method by which you can directly approach the Supreme Lord and directly surrender to Him without getting misled by karma, jnana or yoga. Without getting misled by anything in this material world. Bhakti is the only way. So therefore Narada teaches bhakti. But then for some people who don't have faith, who are faithless, such people, they have to be taught how to indirectly practice bhakti by practicing karma yoga, jnana yoga, or dhyana yoga, raja yoga, so many other yogas. They are all indirect practice of bhakti. So Narada teaches bhakti yoga, but there are others who are facilitating people to practice other yoga systems, so that they one day, by practice of this other yoga systems, they may come to the point of bhakti. Gradually they progress and come to the point of bhakti. Because all yoga systems ultimately lead to bhakti only. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mataha. Among all yogis, Krishna declares the bhakti yogi is the topmost. But to come to bhakti yoga is not possible for everyone because people in general are faithless, or their faith is misplaced. Materialists are faithless as far as God is concerned. They have no faith in God. There are others who are not exactly faithless, but their faith is misplaced. That means they have faith in some powerful person. They worship some demon, or they worship some person who is a very powerful yogi. So many examples are there, so-called avatars of God, who are not really God or avatars of God, but they're claiming like that. So there are people who worship them as God, so it's misplaced faith. Then there are people who place their faith in the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth, Brahman. That is also misplaced faith. That Brahman, or the Brahma Jyoti, or the impersonal aspect of the absolute, has got a source. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Source is Krishna, or the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. So from Vishnu this Brahman is coming. Everything is coming from Vishnu only. This material world, the living entities, the Brahma Jyoti, everything is coming from Vishnu. So the surrender should be, the faith should be in Vishnu. So this misplaced faith in Brahman is also misplaced faith. It's not proper faith. So all these type of faithlessness or misplaced faith can be actually rectified by different processes described in the Vedas. Ultimately, one should develop that faith in God, Krishna, Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then they become perfect. Then they are ready to go to the place where they belong, the kingdom of God. Vishate tadanantaram. After we develop our devotion to the Supreme Lord, the proper faith we develop, then we go to Him. And that is the purpose of this creation. That's what is explained here. I'll stop here. Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.